New faction and a ton of card balance changes. That's what's going on in patch 0.0.22. It is I, 8-Bit Matt, and Fork was unable to join me this week, but that's alright, we'll get to the patch. There is plenty to talk about. Up first, we've got the faction XP bars and unlocking the basic cards. Basically, there is a level 1 to 10 range now for each faction. As you play with the faction, you will level up and you will unlock basic cards. Just a nice way to kind of like ease you into the faction. Excited to see how that works out. Played a couple matches and I got to like level 3 or 4 pretty quick. So not bad. Just a nice change to help add a little more progression into the game. They've also reduced or gotten rid of Spirit. Now it is, Shards. That is now just Spirit for crafting. So kind of simplifying how you build cards and things like that. I think that's a great change. Makes it easier to sacrifice a ton of small cost cards and still be able to build one of those big rare cards. So nice to see that. Nice to see some of those more accessibility things being put into the game, if you will. On to the huge new addition. It is the whole faction of Vanar. I've got all the cards listed here scrolling around. A few that I will kind of point out, I think, that are really interesting and kind of call out what Vanar are is the Bone Chill Barrier. Summon 3/0 cost Frost Walls minions that when the minion is attacked, it stuns the other enemy. So it doesn't do damage, but it stuns them for a turn. So I think that kind of talks to it. They have tons of other wall cards that basically summon walls and basically prevent your opponent from really kind of steamrolling you. Another card that kind of stuck out to me that seems like very interesting is the the Hearth's Sister. Opening Gambit may switch spaces with any other opponent or minion on the battlefield. I think this is really interesting to be able to move minions around the field. It's a 2-cost card, kind of like Repulsor Beast, but again, it's also throwing a minion on the board. So again, there are some other really interesting cards in the deck, including Avalanche, dealing 4 damage to all minions in general on the starting side of the battlefield and stun the enemy. Again, things like this, really lots of zoning cards, lots of ways to stun, block off, wall off, if you will, the opponent, and then their main unique buff to them is Infiltrate. When you're on the opponent's side of the map, you will get a variety of bonuses. That could be +1 damage, Fury, I don't know if there's any flying, but things like that. There's possibility for Provoke. Really cool faction. Definitely speaks Control to me. So looking forward to checking them out. And you can probably catch a stream of me playing it sometime soon. Alright, on to the factions that we know and love. Up first is Lyonar. First, we've got tons of card changes, so I'm just going to kind of highlight a few here. The big one for me is Stormblade. Stormblade is a 6-cost 6/6 now with Provoke, but it also has the additional benefit of minions move 1 additional space. Originally it was a 7/7, and I believe it healed them as well. So again, a very interesting change. Being able to help you cover a little more ground, might be able to get around those walls for Vanar. Things like that. Very interesting. The other change I'll call out here is the Lionheart Blessing. This would originally give your minion a Zeal buff of 4/4. It is now turned to a 1-cost. Give a friendly minion Zeal. Whenever this minion deals damage, you draw a card. So very big change in that one. But the 4/4 Zeal was pretty darn strong. So nice to see a little bit of balancing there, and interested to see this Stormblade in action. You can check out the other cards there floating around, but on to Songhai. Songhai get a few changes here. The ones that stand out to me are Heaven's Eclipse. Draw 3 spell cards from your deck. 3 spell cards from your deck. if Songhai didn't have enough ways to get cards, this gives him direct spell cards. So you could definitely build a solid spell deck with cards like this. The other one I will notice is the Mask of the Shadows. This is an artifact for the general, and he gains +2 attack plus backstab for an additional 4 damage. Before it was just backstab 2 damage. So nice to see it give a basic buff, but also kind of stacking on that for the backstab. Really happy about those changes. This is definitely going to make Songhai's spell even stronger, but again, the rarity of those cards is pretty in the orange. But again, like I said, those were the 2 cards that I noted as very big changes for Songhai. On to Abyssin. Several cards in here. We've got the returning Spectral Blade. It now, instead of giving your minion or your general flying and a couple of damage, it now gives your general 2 attack, and whenever your general destroys an enemy, it restores 2 health to your general. So a very interesting way to kind of like mitigate the damage you take from killing out enemies. It does something similar to the Flying Blade. I mean, at least in terms of like clearing the board and getting rid of stuff instead of flying away from it. So yeah, a nice change. 2 cost for that as well. I will also add that the Soul Grimoire is another artifact, and it gives +2 attack Death Watch +2 attack to your general. Basically, this is very similar to Shadow Watcher or any of the other cards with Death Watch. If a minion dies, your general can basically just steamroll damage. I mean, can you imagine having tons of Wraithlings on the board, sacrificing them into things, and then dropping, 12, 10 damage to your opponent's general? Very devastating. Like to see that card. Yeah. Very, very interested to see how Spectral Blade fits back into the mix, but overall pretty happy with those. A few other changes there. But on to Magmar. Magmar changes are very interesting. The one that stands out to me is Mana Burn. Dispels a space, dealing 2 damage to a minion or general on that space. So before it was only a minion, and I believe it only dispelled the minion instead of the space. So now you could basically get rid of creep, you can get rid of, do damage on a general, just a little more variety with that card. So glad to see that added. And also I'm going to make a note that the Chrysalis Burst is now a 4 cost, and it summons random 0/1 eggs and 4 spaces on the map. So you will get 4 eggs. Previously you got 3, but now you get 4. That's a lot of eggs on the board. You have a bigger chance of getting at least 2 of those, or at least you have a bigger option of getting 1 minion out of that 4 cost card. So I think that's a great addition. It can definitely steamroll you if you're already doing really well with Magmar, but again, really strong card. Can't wait to see that played or play that card. On to Vetruvain changes. There is a few interesting changes here. The one to note is the nerf to Rasha's Curse. Just being 1 cost was insanely powerful. Bringing it back to 2 costs still makes it really powerful, but it is not overwhelmingly dominant like it was before. The other interesting change is the Drain Morale. Instead of taking 1 health from all enemy minions and buffing your minions with 1 health, it is now a 2 cost. Same cost there. And choose an enemy minion, and it may no longer move. Basically, almost putting it in place, making it a unmovable minion. That is interesting. I think it could be comboed really well with Repulsor Beast or something that can move minions around, or if you're moving away from the board, keeping that strong minion in place is really nice and kind of forces them to either stay near their opponent or stay near their units or chase after you. So interesting to see how that works. I think it might work really well if you have a nice flying minion build, or maybe a nice ranged minion build, and just kind of pelt them from far away. Stack that well along with a burst relic, and seems pretty darn devastating. There are several neutral card changes. I'm going to highlight just a few more, maybe 3 or 4 here. I'm going to note that there is changes to the two of the Mechazor mechs. They've been changed in rarity, and they've gotten a little bit of buff. So that's the Helm of the Mechazor, 2 life, 1 cost, and has been dropped to common. So nice to see that they're not all that blue rarity. And the other one is the Cannon Mechazor is raised, I believe, 1 mana cost, and it is now a 2/2 instead of a 2/1. It might have always been 3 cost, and still stays at the blue rarity. The other one that I will call out is the red Shinja. I have no idea if that's how you say that or not. It's a 7 cost, 7/7. Previously, this minion did 7 damage to any enemy around it. Now it does it to 7 damage to any random enemy near it, and that is it does that 7 damage when the general takes damage. So it was a very strong card, really helped clear out a lot of the battlefield. So it's nice to see this card get a little more balance and not just swamp decks with its arrival. The other interesting change, I think, and basically it originally is the Shield Oracle. It originally had a mana field, or magic field, sorry. Now you choose a friendly minion, and that minion no longer takes damage this turn. So nice being able to block damage and clean out a few minions on the board. So that's really nice to see. Again, there's several other changes here that I'm not going to go over. Again, there's the new minions. They changed a bunch of rarity around. There was the soft wipe, so you lost all of your previous collected cards, and now you got gold in return for those, so you can open some new packs, get some different cards out there. I'm super excited to open my packs. But that is going to do it for this whopping patch 0.0.22. Super excited about all these changes. Cannot wait to get my hands on that Vanar deck and try a lot of control. Maybe build it some more Mechazor decks. Hopefully I can draw some of those good cards. Yeah, be on the lookout for all that great stuff. Let me know what your favorite changes are. Have you played Vanar yet? Are you excited about them? Or are you afraid? You're going to see a lot of Vanar. Let me know in the comments below. And of course, shout out to let Fork know we miss him. He will be back next week, and we will do a recap. I'm sure there will be plenty to talk about, what we noticed as well. There might have been visual changes, things like that might have missed or might not have covered here. But again, let me know in the comments if we missed something, if there's a card that you think is incredibly strong now. I want to hear about it, and can't wait to see you guys on the battlefield. Till next time, guys. Later.